Hey, this is Heidi Dawson. If you love all things health and wellness and style of any kind, hang out here with me each week. I'm obsessed with never-ending improvement, and it's all in an effort to help each one of us live a wildly successful lifestyle. Subscribe today so you don't miss a thing.
Hi, guys. Welcome to episode 570 of the Wildly Successful Lifestyle Podcast. I'm so glad to be here with you guys. Every time I start to think, what's it all for? Like, why am I doing this podcast twice a week? Does it really matter? Am I making a difference? Every time that happens, it seems like the universe offers up another learning moment for me, another chance to grow. And doing this podcast keeps me on my toes and keeps me ultra aware of how I am affecting my own life. Just when I think I may have figured it all out, I've got my mindset in the right place, and I feel like I'm noticing all my thoughts. Just when I think all of that, another learning moment shows up. And 90% of the time, it involves my reaction to someone else, my thoughts about someone and what they're doing and how they shouldn't be doing it or should be doing it differently. Do you ever do that? It's a rhetorical question, really, because I know you do, because you're human, just like I am. Seriously, though, how much time do we spend controlling what other people do in our minds? If you think about it honestly, it is exhausting. It's like we're running this mental movie theater, casting other people as the villains or the heroes or the extras in our story. And we're sitting there directing every scene, trying to make them act the way we think they should. But here's the kicker. They're not even in the theater with us. They're out there living their lives completely unaware of the scripts that we're writing for them in our head. It's never been more apparent than when you're around large groups of people. I mean, we do it all the time, but when we're around big crowds, and sometimes it's hectic and chaotic and we're around a lot of people, it gets worse. Like, let's say you go to the beach around the 4th of July. Like we just did. My big sister was going to be with us for 9 days because my parents are out of town. And so she comes and sees us when she does that. And we're always so happy about that. And she doesn't get a lot of vacations. So we thought, let's go to the beach. We'll take Heather to the beach. Well, it just happened to be in the middle of summer when we generally do not try to go to the beach at that time. But we're so glad we did it. And it did really wake me up and show me how every time you think you've got your mind under control and your thoughts managed, the universe gives you a chance to work on yourself again. We stayed in a condo we'd never been to before. And one of the first mornings, I'm sitting there on the balcony and I'm enjoying the sounds of the waves and that salty air and the view of the ocean. I mean, it just feels magical. And then out of nowhere, I get this waft of cigarette smoke. I'm like, what in the world? That is the most inconsiderate thing. Like, who smokes on a beautiful beach balcony, ruining everybody else's lovely morning? I mean, I was ready to launch into a full-on rant. And I started to complain to my big sister who was sitting there with me. But when I looked over at her, she seemed like she didn't even notice it. She was just sitting there sipping her drink, smiling, kind of lost in the moment. And I thought, now, am I going to ruin her morning by complaining and bringing this to her attention? No, I am not. So I just kind of moved my chair back a little bit out of the wind, and the smoke was no longer that big of a problem. And then as the week kept going, let's not even talk about the family whose dad plopped their umbrellas and chairs directly in front of our paid umbrellas, and we had put a blanket out so that we could get a little sun when we wanted to. And as he was setting them up, we even overheard his daughter say, "Are we just going to get right in front of them?" And he said dismissively, "Yes, it doesn't matter." It really did take everything in me not to just go down there and, say, "Hey, this isn't right." But I quickly realized that if we're going to enjoy this week, we're going to have to take care of things on our end, not expect others to worry about how we feel. And that moment was a wake-up call for me. Like, I started noticing how much energy I was spending in my head trying to control what other people were doing. So that smoker on the balcony, in my mind, I'm rewriting their morning, like imagining them choosing a vape or stepping inside, or better yet, not smoking at all. And that dad with the umbrellas, I was mentally directing him to have a sudden epiphany about beach etiquette and move his setup. But here's the truth. None of that mental directing changed a single thing. The smoke still was wafting by, the umbrella stayed put, and I was the only one getting all worked up. Now, I know I'm not alone in this. We live in a world that, thank goodness, we share with other people. We're so glad about that. But that also means we have to deal with other people doing their thing too. Like, how many times have you caught yourself doing this? Maybe it's not a beach trip for you. Maybe it's at the grocery store where someone's cart is blocking the aisle and you're mentally scolding them for not paying attention. Or maybe it's at work where a coworker says something that rubs you the wrong way and you spend the next hour replaying that conversation, imagining what you should have said or what they should have done differently. It's like we're all walking around with these invisible control panels, trying to manage everyone else's behavior to fit our version of how the world should work. But here's the thing. That control panel is not plugged into anything. We're not actually controlling anyone. All we're doing is draining our own energy, stealing our own peace, and missing out on the moment right in front of us. That morning on the balcony, I could have stayed stuck in my frustration about the cigarette smoke. But instead, I just took a deep breath. I focused on the sound of the ocean. And I moved my chair back a little bit. And I chose to let it go. And you know what? I didn't think about it again. Now, it's still there every once in a while, but it wasn't the center of my attention anymore. And that's where the real work begins. It's about shifting our focus from what we can't control, like other people's actions or other people's words or choices, but shifting from that to what we can control, which is our own thoughts, our own reactions, our own perspective. That week at the beach, I made a really conscious decision to practice this. I had to, because it was really busy. And when the dad set up his umbrellas in front of us, I didn't march down there. Instead, I grabbed our beach blankets and I moved them over. We adjusted our things, to get a better view of the water. It's like I've said before in episodes like this, we took care of it on our end. We did this all week because it was really busy. The first night that we arrived, we weren't aware of how busy it was going to be. We just didn't know that because we hadn't been there in the summer in a long time. So we got settled into our condo and got our, everything put away. And then we went out to get a yummy dinner just across the street. We liked this little restaurant. Well, it was a Saturday night around 7:30 in the middle of summer. It's really cute to look back and think how adorable it was that we thought we were going to get anywhere in less than an hour, right at peak dinner time in the middle of the beach, right, a busy beach. This wasn't going to happen. We just didn't realize it. So ultimately, we ended up back at our condo where I made this delicious dinner of really just sourdough bread and ham and cheese, like hot and ham and cheese sandwiches. And we ate it on the patio overlooking the ocean. We had chips and salsa. My mom had made some fresh salsa and we had this beautiful view. What could have been a miserable night with us frustrated and hungry and not getting to eat until 9, we just took care of it on our end. Right then and there, though, we realized, okay, it's going to be busy this week. So we have to make sure we manage our time and our expectations, which we did. So we just totally arranged our schedule so that we ate a late breakfast and an early dinner and then had balcony time before we came in for movie night at 7:00. So we were eating dinner at 4 because you could get right in, no problem. And that's fine for us. Eric and I like to eat early anyway, and so does my sister. And so it worked out really well. That was our whole week. And we all agreed that we couldn't have loved it any more than we did. No more problems because we decided we would manage our expectations and our schedule so that we had a wonderful week, regardless of the crowds. And that's what we did. Now, I'm not saying that's easy. Letting go of that mental control panel takes practice. It's like a muscle you have to build. So I have these 3 things that really help me, and I think they'll help you too. Like when you catch yourself trying to control others in your mind, which if you're like me, it's pretty regular. But once you notice, you kind of start seeing that you're doing it a lot. So first of all, that's just it, is to notice it. The first step is awareness. You can't change what you don't see. So when you feel that frustration or judgment creeping in, maybe just pause and name it. So maybe say to yourself, okay, I'm trying to control this person's behavior in my mind. So for me, it was like saying, Heidi, you're mad about the cigarette smoke, but you can't make that person stop smoking. Naming it helps you step back and see it for what it is. It's a thought, not a fact, right? Number two would be to shift your focus. Stop focusing on that, because when you focus on something, it makes it bigger. And once you've noticed it and you redirect your energy to something you can control. So maybe it's your breath. You take a few deep breaths to ground yourself. Maybe it's your environment. Maybe you just move your chair. You put on some music, or you find a new perspective. On that beach, I shifted my focus to the waves and also shifted my perspective a little bit because we moved down. And in the busy restaurants, no problem. We just shifted our dinner time so that everybody's happy. And finally, this is the hard one, but it's really the game changer, is have compassion. Everybody at the beach, they were just wanting to have a good time. They had no intentions of trying to hurt our feelings. But instead of judging the person who's ruining your moment, try to see them as human, just like you. That smoker on the balcony, maybe they're stressed and that's their coping mechanism. And that dad with the umbrella, he's just trying to make the beach day the best for his family that he can. Oh, I know that. We don't know their story, but assuming they're doing the best they can soften our judgment and free up a lot of mental space. And that's just what I did for the week. And those steps, like noticing, shifting what you're thinking about and focusing on, and then practicing compassion, they aren't just about making your day better. They're about reclaiming your energy and your joy and your peace. Because when we stop trying to control others in our minds, we create space for the things that really matter. Our connection, like my connection with my big sister and my husband, Eric. And we had our friend Lena visit. I also left mental space for gratitude and just being fully present in the moment, so that I notice the dolphins that are swimming around. And so here's my challenge to you this week. Pay attention to one moment where you catch yourself trying to control someone else's behavior in your mind. Maybe it's a family member who's late to dinner, or a driver who cuts you off, or a coworker who's not pulling their weight. When it happens, try those 3 steps. Just try to notice it, first of all, and then maybe shift your focus. And once you shift your focus, maybe practice compassion for that person. Maybe there's a reason why what's going on. And even if you don't know what it is, you can totally make something up. I do that. Like, I'll make something up. You never know. Maybe that dad was having a bad day, and that just was the last moment. He was like, forget it. We're parking here. He'd had it. Who knows? And that's totally fine. We all have those days. But I really want to leave you with this. The only person you can truly control is yourself. And when you lean into that, when you focus on your own thoughts, your own reactions, your own choices, you really do start to live a lot lighter. You start to live freer. That trip with my sister, it ended up being so relaxing and just an amazing week. Not because everyone around us behaved perfectly and exactly the way we wanted to, but because we chose to let go and show up fully for the moments that really mattered. Living our best life doesn't mean everything and everyone around us is always perfect. It means that we have the power to feel peace in any given moment if we allow it. Now get out there and go live your best life. And share this with someone who is working on living their best life too. I love you guys. I'll talk to you in a few days.
Don't forget to subscribe and share with your friends, because we're just going to keep going bigger and better places together, and I love that about us. Talk to you in a few days.